Hello everyone, so let's get this Kursk update started with the big news of the day. This video here shows the crash site of a Russian Su-34 that was downed over Kursk. Not much information is available at the moment. Given these tend to launch their glide bombs from between 25 to 45 kilometers away from the front lines, depending on the target, I would say this was downed by a medium to long range SAM system, or, dare I say it, and it does need to be suggested, has F-16 bagged its first jet? We are going to have to wait for more information to be sure. Here's a picture of a Su-34, a medium-range fighter bomber and strike aircraft. Russia uses these a lot in Ukraine to launch glide bombs and attack Ukrainian positions. These are new, entering service in 2014, and we've had a rather torrid war in terms of losses. 32 upon Oryx, and that's a conservative number since not every loss is visually confirmed or documented, and there were a number that Ukraine claimed but couldn't be verified with photos or satellite imagery, so the true number will be higher. 163 were in service, so a pretty sizable chunk of the fleet is gone. These cost around $36 million each. Now, let's move on to our next photo. This shows a Russian BM-27 Uragan MLRS system, which ran afoul of HIMARS' M38-1 tungsten round, and now has more holes in it than a Russian ship. The M38-1 round releases 280,000 tungsten pellets upon impact, shredding anything within range, so this Uragan is, I believe the technical term, is knackered. Now, this isn't an ordinary BM-27. You can spot that it has a different chassis, based on the BAZ 69092, rather than the typical ZIL 135LM. No other information was given for this strike other than it being somewhere in Kursk. 86 Uragans are on Oryx so far. Russia had 200 in service, but we do have some in reserve. Now, remember, Ukraine has quite strict OPSEC in this region, with very few videos being released. So, for Russian losses, we're often relying on Russian Telegram pages sharing them. So, it's mainly still photos taken from the scene, like this photo here, shared of a KAMAZ 5350 supply truck near the village of Su-34. No information given as to what hit it, but it was completely destroyed. On Svoboda's map, I did find a way to remove older annotations of a light, which makes it easy to understand. So I've left up just the battles and events from the 12th and 13th. So Su-34 is highlighted. So it's not near the current front lines as such. Being a KAMAZ, these were likely supplying troops in the area, with one of Russia's main supply trucks. This could be where some Russian howitzers are. Given the destruction to the truck, I do think it very likely it was carrying ammunition, but we can't say for sure. A short one here, but worth a quick look, a spotter drone, an all-land 10 of Russia's which was downed in Kursk. This looks pretty intact, so I think electronic warfare may have downed this one. Russia uses these to seek out targets, often for Iskander missiles and other long-range threats, so it's very important for Ukraine to get these out of the sky as soon as possible. Now we have the static photos out of the way, let's check some videos. Another video shared by Ukraine here, which I've trimmed down a bit, shows a truck getting ambushed along a road. Given Ukraine is delaying the release of videos, I expect this one and the video we just watched happened very early on in the Kursk offensive. This truck here, completely destroyed. In the full video, we do see that the occupants didn't make it as well. An interesting little video here showing that Ukraine does have air support in the region. This shows an airstrike hitting a Russian command post in Kursk. No information given as to what was used. I think something along the lines of JDAM or that HIMARS, donated by France, is likely. Two separate locations were hit. One of them hit a warehouse in an industrial zone, reported to be used as a command post and storage facility by Russia. The other one hit a bit further east. I wonder if the one which hit a bit further east could be a miss, as nothing of note here is seen, other than some houses, unless one of the houses was being used by Russia. If a miss, it's a pretty big miss, but JDAM and HIMARS are actually pretty accurate, so I'm inclined to think that this second one was targeted deliberately, but I don't know why. This was in Tekkino, shown here. There have been reports that Ukraine is gathering forces for a crossing here as well. Could be true, or it could be a bit of misdirection to force Russia to divert resources here, as well, in order to defend the crossing points. Final video from the Ukraine side here. This shows a HIMARS strike on a compound used by Russia in Malaya Lokna, destroying it. In the full video, a number of troops can be seen entering prior to HIMARS turning it to rubble. No doubt Russia will claim they were actually Ukrainian prisoners of war. This was a building hit here, and which, zoomed out, you can see that this is north of Suja. Malaya Loknya is Ukrainian controlled, so this has likely been hit in the opening part of the Kursk offensive. So again, we're seeing Ukraine's delay on releasing videos here. Now some of Ukraine's losses shared by Russia, some of which give more information as to Ukraine's location and territorial control, so they are worth a watch. This here shows a Rushal Senator MRAP hidden inside the trees getting hit by a drone. This was likely empty at the time but hidden here, rather than previously hit and abandoned, which suggests there's a sizable Ukrainian troop presence in the area. So, where is this? Well, it's in a tree line south of Mordvin, and north of Alexievsky. Let's turn to Svoboda's map. So, the MRAP was here, about 1.5 kilometers further north than currently controlled Ukrainian territory in Kursk. Now the troops here were dismounted and occupying this tree line, and had taken the time to hide the senator. So maybe we can judge these forests up here as Ukrainian controlled as well, since they clearly have Ukrainian elements hidden in them. The map also shows battles taking place near Kauchuk and Kromsibiki, so Ukraine is pushing north along here. Here, a strike from presumably earlier in the incursion showing a pair of Ukrainian tanks, a T-72 and a PT-91 Tardy, being destroyed by a Lancer. You can see a number of Ukrainian vehicles around the area. Looks like some type of mustering or supply point. The Lancer is a very good weapon, probably the best that Russia has. Bit of a mistake to park the two tanks so close to each other like this, as both were destroyed by the same Lancer. These really should have been kept separate. The geolocation is on screen now, so the two tanks parked by the tree line, which, zoomed out, is near a settlement called Sverdlikovo, Ukrainian controlled, as you can see here on Svoboda's map. Ukraine, meanwhile, continues to capture surrendering Russians across the front line, some of them shown in the photos here. The total number is now well over 1,000 surrendered in Ukrainian hands. Now let's have a look at territorial changes. There's nothing really concrete, as in shown by videos or photos. In the south, remember yesterday? We saw an ambush on Ukrainian BTR-4s in Guri, shown here. So it appears that all of the settlements between Ukrainian confirmed controlled areas and here were in Ukrainian hands or at least abandoned by Russia. Today, Russian Telegram pages report a counter-offensive by Russia taking place in the area, shown by the various markers added by Svoboda. So, definitely, this area here looks like it has a sizable Ukrainian presence, even as far south as Ozerki. I hesitate to call this Ukrainian controlled, but certainly heavily contested with a big Ukrainian presence. Near here, a video is shared, which I'll play without me talking.
Улица План. Слава Украине кричат, прикинь. Вот и первый местный житель. Набуханный в торбе. В своем репертуаре Рашка. Опять в торбулях.
This shows Ukrainians patrolling Plikovo along with an MRAP. This was here in the centre of Plikovo, and Plikovo is shown here. We already knew this was in Ukraine's hands, but this is a bit of further confirmation, so worth a quick look. In Suja, first of all, Martinovka. Russia did recapture this a couple of days ago, but Ukraine has since reportedly regained the settlement. Not shown on the map here, I think it's too soon to call it Ukrainian controlled, but rather we can call it contested, as we never know, it may switch hands again soon. Further north, near Bolshoa, an evacuation of civilians was announced and battles took place. No idea if these battles were a major Ukrainian push north to the town, or forward elements of Ukraine's carrying out ambushes and the like. North, the Koronovo area. Now we already looked at the area highlighted here, where Ukraine was 1.5 kilometers north of Anastiivka. This is where the Senator was. Well, this area, pretty much full of various little skirmishes and contested areas. The known contested areas shown in black, but the other areas too will likely have troop presences of the like. The situation here very fluid at the moment. I don't think there's any real front lines as such, and there's not much information coming out as to who controls what. However, switching to just today's battles, you can see Ukraine is pushing on Koronovo from the south and east. And word is on Telegram that the eastern approach is very accurate, as in a big Ukrainian presence on the east of Koronovo. So the settlement beset on two sides. Finally, no location given for this, but worth a quick look. I was going to play it in full, with subtitles added, but since they're swearing like a Chubby Brown show, it may get the video age restricted, but I'll pop it on my Patreon page for free for you to check out if you wish. This shows Ukrainians in a captured command post of the 28th Battalion of the 60th Motor Rifle Brigade. These were last seen in Ukraine's south near Uragan. However, I don't think the 60th has moved to here. I've seen suggestions online that this is actually a volunteer battalion assigned to the 60th Brigade and deployed in Kursk, rather than the main elements of the 60th moving from Uragan to here. This outpost looks to have been hastily abandoned. As you can see in the video, the Ukrainians are rifling through the desks and all the paperwork left behind. So, Russia must have left this in a hurry and didn't bother to take anything with them. The soldiers don't really say anything of note in regards to Russia's plans and that sort of thing. They're making jokes and everything while they rifle through the things left behind. The full video is on my Patreon page for free, so you can check it out if you want to. So that's it for this update. The front line's still very fluid at the moment in the Kursk area. No major territorial control changes to report, other than Ukraine being a touch further north than originally believed, thanks to the presence of the Senator MLRS hidden under a tree line near a road. Koronovo in the north and Gary in the south look to be the key flashpoints at the moment of the main areas to keep an eye on. So that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Now I'm going to play a video from Cars for Ukraine about the ongoing fundraiser with them. Big thanks for everybody who's helped out so far, and take care everybody.
Hi folks, I'm driving a Sun Patrol, amazing car, one owner for the last 12 years. That's one of the first vehicles we bought for medics of the 3rd Assault Brigade. Loading into a lorry today en route to Ukraine. It's already stacked up with some supplies, traveling with it, so stay tuned, there will be more.